We just celebrated the Chrism Mass, which is a traditional Mass where the bishop gathers with the priest and the priestly promises are renewed for the bishop and the presbytery, the priest gathered with him. One of the elements of the Chrism Mass, of course, is the blessing and consecration of the oils. That is why it's called the Chrism Mass. The oil of chrism is consecrated, prepared so that it can be used for baptism, for confirmation, and for holy orders. That chrism, which is so connected to the word Christ, which means the anointed one. What caught my attention when we celebrated the Chrism Mass this year in the context of really deepening our understanding that Christ is really present was one detail of when the oil of the sick is actually blessed. It's an unusual experience in the liturgy because the Eucharistic prayer is so important, and it is that expression of this covenant that we speak of. The words of Christ actually saying, "Take this bread, it is my body. Take this wine, it is my blood." I just found it as so significant that in this liturgy of the Chrism Mass, when the oils are blessed, right after the Eucharist is consecrated, at the end, just before the Eucharistic prayer ends, it's as if the liturgy is interrupted and the bishop steps around the altar to bless the oil of the sick. I've had questions and I've talked with other bishops and priests about why does the liturgy approach it that way? Why interrupt this beautiful prayer? This prayer is so significant. The Eucharistic prayer. Why would we step away from the Eucharist there on the altar, just consecrated bread and wine, and move to bless the oil of the sick? And the beautiful insight that I experienced at the Chrism Mass this year was how appropriate. Christ is really there. Christ is present, body and blood, soul and divinity, there on the altar once again, brand new, ever ancient, ever new. And what did Jesus do so often when he walked this earth? He healed the sick. He reached out to those who were suffering. So I thought it was a beautiful liturgical connection that we step away, or in a sense, take with us this newly present sacrifice of the Son of God, the bread and wine consecrated, and almost saying that it's in the air. It's in the atmosphere once again. Christ is really there. And we ask God to bless this oil that will be used to bring Christ's healing touch to people in the hospital or the nursing home or gravely ill or preparing for surgery. It was just a moment when I had that insight of the beauty of the rhythms of the liturgy. And I think it's important, a good lesson for me as a bishop, for my brother priests, for all of us, to be reminded that the details and the way the liturgy is literally orchestrated is for a reason. All of us can pay attention in a deeper way. Why do we say these words? Why this action? Why this movement? And sometimes we will be mystified, as I was. Why would we step away from the Eucharistic altar, the sacrifice just being celebrated, to bless this oil? But to me, it resonates with our belief. Christ is there. He's brand new present once again in the mystery of the Eucharist. Bread and wine are Him on the altar. And so it seems quite fitting that we would say, Lord, bless this oil so that we can share your healing ministry in the world today.